is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are MC.
The Royals have won 5 in a row, and while there have been several big hits along the way, this winning streak began with starting pitching, and it began with Danny Duffy last Saturday. Justin Verlander and the Tigers come to town to take on Duffy and the Royals tonight. Royals baseball on a burning hot night in Kansas City, and after the Royals swept the Indians in 3 games, now the Detroit Tigers are in for a 4-game series. Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Hi everyone, welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. And when the Royals lost 8 in a row, there were many problems, but maybe the number that stood out more than the others was the starters' ERA. It was over 7 during that losing streak. Well, that has not been a problem over the last 5 games.
Yes, you can't win games with a 7 ERA from your starters. That's where it all starts. But lately, they've been getting it right.
Yeah, Kia puts us in the driver's seat. And boy, you're not kidding. A 2.03 ERA for the starters through the last turn.
It's been fabulous. We all know that this is what stirs every championship team's drink. Starting pitching, and now all of a sudden they're coming of age here in June and starting to pass that baton around. It's back to Duffy.
And of course, there was some offense as well.
Well, you got to have the timely hits, that's for sure. The average has been nice. How about the homers? Wow, that's a lot of homers for our Royals. But let me tell you, the most important, getting those big hits. 306 average and risk.
And it will be a test for the Royals pitching staff beginning tonight. The Tigers are in town. They might have the best 1 through 6 of any batting order in the American League. Cricket Wireless something to smile about. The Tigers won 4 consecutive division series. That ended in 2014. The Royals won the American League Central last year. They played well against the Tigers. and they took 2 out of 3 from Detroit in April. Salvador Perez had 6 RBIs in that series. So where do we stand now? The Royals began the homestand chasing the Indians. They were 3 games back, and now this series begins with the Tigers chasing the Royals.
Oh, man, and I'm going to tell you what, when you got that World Championship flag we're looking at flying right there, that's enough to be chased. But when you're ahead of the team, of the Tigers in the standings, the pressure's on. This is a big series.
And we could have a really good pitching matchup tonight. Justin Verlander goes for the Tigers. Danny Duffy for the Royals. Jeff Montgomery will be back to talk about Duffy when we come back. This year, and as we bring in Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, Monty, Danny Duffy's gone from a starter as a fill-in to maybe the Royals' most dependable starter.
Yeah, and I really like what I've seen from Danny Duffy here in his 6 starts. I like the fact that he took this challenge going from the bullpen into the rotation, which is one reason he's our Honda most trusted player. Seems to be getting better every time he goes out there. I like the way he's really challenged hitters, filling up the strike zone. He loves the fastball, over 70% strikes. Danny Duffy is really doing a nice job in his opportunity as a starting pitcher.
And he'll be opposite Justin Verlander. Verlander's ERA in his last 6 starts is a little over 2, and Joel will talk about him when we come back.
great for the kids to cool off, and both of these teams will try to cool off hot pitchers. Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium. And when you talk about Justin Verlander, no pitcher in the majors that is active has more career wins against the Royals. Verlander has 20 of them. The bad news for the Royals is the fact that Verlander, who isn't the same guy as the past, seems to be figuring things out. In his last 6 starts, 4-2 with a 2.23 ERA. The velocity not what it once was, but he has really been tough to hit. The good news for the Royals, the last 8 times they have faced him, after really struggling over the years, they have been able to get to him here at Kauffman Stadium. A 4.61 ERA in his last 8, and we've seen some of that frustration. So this should be a very interesting matchup tonight between Cabrera's Tigers and Hosmer's Royals. It is the first of 4 between these division rivals. Ryan and Hud are back next.
Play is back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. Danny Duffy makes start number 7 and his first against the Tigers this year. He has walked only 10 in 49 innings, and he has struck out 59, and that's one of the best strikeout to walk ratios in the major leagues. In fact, 4th in the major leagues. Clayton Kershaw strikes out 19,
and that's no typo,
in between walks.
Yep. Well, Danny Duffy in his 6 starts, 0.66 ERA in innings 1 through 5. He's been tough to hit early. Should be a good matchup. Kinsler, he's a beast. He's hitting .389 this year off of left-handers.
He's usually a beast against anyone throwing the ball on the mound with a Royals hat on.
That's exactly right. And you see those home runs? He only had 11 last year at this time, or total for the whole season, but he's already got 14, so he's bellying up. That's a term used to get up on that plate, try to turn and burn.
Long run Hosmer. Careful. Running out of room, and before he gets to the tarp, he makes the catch.
Yep, whenever that ball gets close to that tarp over there, you kind of hold your breath. You never know, but the one thing we do know is there will be an effort. You got to be careful over there.
Look at the Tigers lineup. A hot hitting lineup over the past week or so. Tigers are second in the American League in team batting average. They are fifth in the league in runs scored. And here's a hitter that's on a recent hitting streak. Jose Iglesias, not normally known for his hitting, but he has the longest active hitting streak in baseball right now, 13 straight. Broke his bat. Escobar has to hurry and throws him out. Five pitches and 2 outs for Danny Duffy.
Yep, it's a beautiful thing. Ford Royals defense. Eibner is back out there in left field. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Rest of them all look good. Merrifield looks good at second base. Cuthbert makes every play. Escobar just showed off why he wears the gold. That was no routine play on that little jam shot. There's Eibner.
Just called up today, and the Royals send Ray Fuentes back to AAA. So 2 down to Miguel Cabrera. I don't know if I've ever said this about Miguel Cabrera following a series with the Royals, but when the Tigers were here in April, Miguel Cabrera was 2 for 14, and he really looked bad.
Yeah, and I would agree. I've never heard of another broadcaster or anybody say Miguel Cabrera looked bad. Well, he's had some injury issues, especially finding his timing against lefties. That's been the main issue. Duffy, great changeup there. Show you the splits there. 180. So as I was making my rounds through the Tiger clubhouse today, I saw him and I said, "Hey Miguel, 180 off of lefties? That's not you." And he says, "I don't know why." That's what he told me. So then, look at that. Beautiful job.
Back-to-back changeups. Danny Duffy has a 1-2-3 top of the first inning. Duffy needed just 8 pitches to get to the Tigers in the top of the first. And here come the Royals against Justin Verlander. We welcome Brett Eibner back to the lineup. All he did was hit .462 before going on the disabled list with a sprained right ankle, so he'll bat 9th. And the Royals will get a look at Justin Verlander for the first time this year. He's striking guys out again. Tigers say he's got his fastball back. and he has 90 strikeouts in 86 innings.
That's right. 67 hits and 86 innings pitched. Whenever your hit total is under your amount of innings pitched, tells me you're getting guys out. And he's doing it minus the great velocity he once had. So he has come full circle now. He's pitching. And he's good. And they knew that. The Tigers, when they gave him that long-term contract, they knew that fastball wasn't going to last. It never does if a guy throws that many innings. So now he's starting to learn how to pitch, and still the average velocity at 92.5. That's plenty with his other pitches.
Verlander is now 33 years old. That was into the Royals dugout.
I got somebody. Give you a little pitch breakdown on Verlander. There you go. You got the opponent's averages next to it. Change up. Pitch he doesn't use that often. No wonder. They're hitting over 300 off of it. But his slider is more of a cutter. He's been calling it a slider.
Fastball up is hit into left field. And Whit Merrifield has now hit safely in 22 of his 24 major league starts.
He's just putting consistent at bats in there with a very good awareness of how pitchers are trying to pitch him, what he's doing. He does his homework, but he's got a good level swing, and he's going to hit the ball wherever it's pitched. That ball was inside. He turned on it. He got on top, got a little topspin roller, and it rolled through the hole. But he's been setting the table, doing a nice job.
You got to figure a little reality just set in there for him. He gets a base hit off of Verlander and then exchanges pats on the back with Miguel Cabrera.
Yep. You've asked me before, when I was on that field for the first time, who was it that really was like, wow, you're a big leaguer? And for Merrifield, he's feeling the same thing right now. Standing there next to Miguel Cabrera. We'll have to ask him that question in another month once he's been around.
Escobar puts a jolt into one. Deep left center field. Upton, and some communication problems. The ball drops. Justin Upton, who doesn't play center field very often. Mike Aviles, who doesn't play left field very often. And there was some confusion out there, and the Royals have runners at second and third and nobody out.
Yep, and that ball is a ball that Verlander was hoping would have been caught. But Upton, you mentioned, this is only his sixth start in center field, and Aviles, I've never seen him play the outfield. So my comment to you before the game was, aim to left and left center. Escobar did that. Look at now, Upton, he's calling for it, but see how he took his eye off the ball at the last minute there? He thought that Aviles was going to come in there. Aviles, that last minute taking his eye off the ball allowed that to drop. You can't take your eye off it. Now the Royals must capitalize off of another good starter. I'm going to go ace. I'll say he's an ace. Believe it. Anybody who's won the Cy Young, they deserve that title.
Hosmer swings at the first pitch. Okay, I have a thought about that play. Here are the Tigers defensively, and Upton is just making his sixth start in center field. Now, Hud, normally he's a corner outfielder.
Okay.
So his usual interactions with another outfielder is the center fielder, who has priority over him. And I wonder that even though he was calling for it, really believed that Mike Aviles would peel away.
You're right.
See where I'm going with that?
I totally agree.
That'll get a run home. Kinsler throws out Hosmer. And now Whit Merrifield has scored a run in 10 consecutive home games. 1-0 Royals, bottom of the first inning.
So before the game, Ryan, this is what Upton's conversation should have been with Aviles. Hey, I got everything. Okay, if you see me near one, I got it. And so you put that in his mind right away.
But he's calling for it.
He is, but watch him take his eye off of the ball when it was 30 feet from landing. He took his eye off the ball just to see where Aviles was, and that's all it needed to happen.
Now the Tigers have the infield in for Lorenzo Cain. Because if you're a center fielder and you have priority and you call for the ball, you have to trust that the guy next to you is going to hear you and peel away, right? You can't be worrying about whether you're going to collide with the guy.
No, you can't. See him? See how see his eyes move?
Because he's worried about Aviles.
Right, and so that is just a byproduct of not playing together and no chemistry out there.
Up the right field line, slicing away from Martinez, and that's down for a base hit. Kane wants two, and he's in with a double. Escobar scores on the play, and the Royals lead 2-0.
Just gotta love the first inning approach here at home at the K this year. On the attack. Obviously, Verlander's on the attack as well, but the Royals are swinging the bats. That got in on him, but still, when you're going good, those usually land. And for Kane, he'll take it. That is his 36th RBI of the season.
And now Salvador Perez with Kane at second base. And what a series he had against the Indians. Breaking ball is in for a strike. What a career he's had against Justin Verlander. Our Kubota power stats for tonight. That's the highest average, highest slugging percentage. He also has 13 RBIs against Justin Verlander. That's the second most. So he has the highest batting average, the second highest RBIs, and highest slugging percentage against Verlander than any other hitter.
It's impressive. And no wonder he started him off with the first pitch hook. Maybe he goes back-to-back hooks. But for a guy as lava hot as he is, you got to be careful. There it is, 2 curves in a row. No fastballs for Salvi. Now, I would expect Verlander, in his quote-unquote pitching ways now, will try to get him to swing off of the plate. Try to waste a few pitches. Hot hitter like Salvi might be aggressive. That's what he's thinking, him and McCann.
Like a lot of very good pitchers, the first inning is Verlander's worst. Salvi hits it to right center field, and Upton takes charge again. This time makes the play. Kane bluffs a tag, and he'll hold at second base.
Yeah, there's no urgency to go to third there. It's already in scoring position. Verlander threw him another off-speed pitch off the plate.
So from one hitter who has been magnificent against Justin Verlander to another one who's done quite well, Kendrys Morales, in 34 at-bats, has hit .353 against Verlander. Breaking ball blocked by McCann. 1 ball and no strikes.
That's right. It's time to get greedy. First inning, you better believe it, before he settles in. The Royals facing a smoking hot pitcher in Kluber, who his previous started through a 9-inning complete game. They got to him early, and then he settled down, and he mowed him down after that. So get him early.
Almost hit him on the foot. 2 balls and no strikes. So 2 runs against Verlander in the first inning. And now Verlander, in his 14 starts, has allowed 11 runs in the first. Merrifield singled. Escobar doubled on a misplayed ball in left center field. Hosmer drove in a run with a ground out. Kane drove in a run with a double. 2-1.
I like that take. 2-0. Sometimes first time up, you're guessing fastball, but Morales said, I want to see it first. First time up, you try to see as many pitches as you can to get a read on what they're doing. Like that had a little two-seam movement away. There's some 95 for him.
Kinsler will take care of Morales, and that's the inning. Royals get 2. Hosmer and Kane driving the runs, and at the end of 1, the Royals lead 2-0.
Taking advantage of the opponent's miscues.
Single extra base hit in June, and now he has extra base hits in back-to-back games. The Royals have a 2-0 lead, and when they lead into the second inning, they are 19-3 this year.
Hey, look, numbers are numbers, you know, but that's a nice number to show at this particular time in the game. Offense helping Duffy early. It's a momentum builder.
Now Victor Martinez jolts one into the left field corner, and the Tigers are on the board. We were telling you about some of the hitters with hitting streaks in the Tigers batting order. Victor Martinez was not one of them. He'd been a struggling hitter over the past week, and a hitter who hadn't played much over the past week. And he jumped on the first pitch from Duffy.
And he was waiting. He ambushed him, and he caught it just perfectly. Short, compact swing.
And now J.D. Martinez. He took a shot at right field and fouls it away.
So they're taking the same approach now after Duffy's 8-pitch first inning by being aggressive early. Wally Joyner, Tigers hitting instructor, has these guys aggressive early now. Let's be ready for the heater.
Inside at 96, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that's not going to back Duffy off, as that's his best pitch, but might put in the mind of Salvi and Duffy that maybe you mix up some first pitches to change-ups or little breaking balls.
There's the breaking ball, 1-2.
Talked with Dave Island today about what that pitch is. Is it a slider or a curve? And he said, just say it's a breaking ball. Thank you. I will.
Breaking ball, and Duffy has his second strikeout.
Get up on the side of that ball, put a little bit of pressure on that middle finger, makes that ball dance.
Duffy has thrown 13 pitches, 10 strikes, and that's nothing new for him this year. Our Toyota League leaders, with at least 6 starts among major leaguers, Danny Duffy has thrown the most percentage of strikes. Now Nick Castellanos. And he starts Castellanos off with a breaking ball, 0-1.
He was looking fastball.
Good year for Castellanos so far. He was one of the best players in the American League in the first month and a half. It has cooled off quite a bit since the middle of May. A breaking ball and then a changeup. 0-2.
You could see Castellanos' little grimace he had on his face there, and what it was not at the pitch, but it was home plate umpire Angel Hernandez. Angel, if you're going to give him that tonight, we're in trouble. That was what that was. You called that a strike? Never stepped out of the box, kept his toe hold in there. Some hitters will do that. They're comfortable, why move?
Little bit outside, 1-2.
Tried a little backdoor breaker there.
So I don't know if this was the game plan or if Duffy and Salvi were impacted by the home run on the first pitch fastball from Victor Martinez, because JD Martinez and Castellanos have gotten mostly off speed, and there's a fastball down and in. 2-2.
Good spot to miss. But yeah, we talk about adjustments every single night because that's what this game revolves around. So in game right here, after Victor ambushed him, they said we're gonna make some adjustments here.
Going to try and get him with a changeup, and it's in the dirt. 3-2.
But take a picture of Duffy now. Watch him. Walked off the mound slowly, calmly. He's been able to harness his emotions, and we all know that he's a live wire inside. That's been part of the maturity that Danny Duffy has been impressive with.
Ball's carrying, and Kane into left center field makes the play. Castellanos hit that ball down around the end of the bat and still got it to the warning track. 2 outs.
Look at the confidence he carries himself with. His body language has been off the charts. Good.
Two down to Justin Upton. Way out in front of a breaking ball. Tigers gave Upton a big contract this past offseason. Signed through 2021. And here we are in mid-June. And Upton's hitting .230 with 4 home runs. Slugging percentage under .350. Very late on a fastball. Down 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here are some of the numbers that show you why the Tigers gave him the big bucks. 2 years ago, 29 home runs. He drove in 102. 26 home runs last year. Also has speed. So he's a threat on the bases. Normally a good defensive outfielder, but just hasn't been able to put the pieces together so far in his first year with the Tigers. And that Would be Upton's 86th strikeout already this year.
Whew. Don't matter. Upton, you got to go.
So hello back to you, Lily.
That's right, Lily. Thanks for taking time. Make us feel good.
Tonight's game, we are participating in the home run challenge to benefit prostate cancer research. So far, after 3 days this week, $1,260,000 has been raised, and you can make a pledge by going to homerunchallenge.org. Every home run hit in the major leagues this week raises money for prostate cancer research. Strike one to Paulo Orlando. He'll be followed by Chesler Cuthbert and Brett Eibner. One ball, one strike. Eric Hosmer and Lorenzo Cain drove in runs against Verlander in the first inning. Two balls and one strike.
Paulo just 3 at-bats with a hit off Verlander.
Into the right field corner, and that ball carries. J.D. Martinez is not able to make the play. And there goes Paulo Orlando, rounding third, and had to be held up by Mike Jershely.
Oh, I believe. That's not good. And I believe he might have had an inside the Parker if there was 2 outs. They might have sent him. Now, did he run into the padding there?
I don't know, but he's walking off the field. He's not even waiting for the trainer and Brad Ausmus to arrive.
Carrying his arm like it's a collarbone or maybe something up in the shoulder area.
Elbow area, above the elbow.
Well, ball was sailing on him. It's a slight breeze here tonight, and it's blowing out from right field to left field. But Paulo was a little bit late on the pitch, so the ball's going to have that spin that's going towards the line. And you could see how Martinez was playing him a little bit pull. So you put that hand up like that, and you could tell right away he was able to get the ball. No wonder when he threw it in, he kind of just lobbed it in. But Mike Jerschley, the third base coach for the Royals, he did the right thing. Even though Paulo, with his speed and his long strides, and he was gaining speed coming around third, Jersch said, hey, look, let's just hold you right there. There's nobody out.
So Andrew Romine will take over in right field, or he's going to go to left field. Mike Aviles goes from left field to right. Or he's going to be in center field. They all gathered in the middle there and couldn't tell who was going where. So it's Romine in center, Upton goes to left, and Aviles goes to right.
Well, now so Upton goes back to his normal ground out there in left field. Romine, he's a nice player. He can do a lot of things. Good infielder. Infielder by trade, but he has nice speed, and they've been working him in the outfield, and he's another player like Whitley Merrifield.
So after all that, a runner at third and nobody out to Cheslor Cuthbert. That'll be out of play. So the Royals opened the first inning with 2 on and nobody out, and now in the second inning, a runner at third and nobody out. That was Paulo's second triple of the year. 1-1.
That'll back you off. Dave Clark, man, I'll tell you, he has that white towel all rounded up, and he's waving it out to those outfielders, especially a bunch of them, not used to playing together out there, and he's on high alert. He looked like he was on a runway somewhere directing traffic.
High and tight again, 2-1.
So Cuthbert wants to just focus in the middle, stay in the middle here. Even though if you hit it to the third baseman, Castellanos, he's back. He probably could score the run.
Breaking ball stayed up for him, and he fouled it back. 2-2.
He was right on that breaking ball.
Full count. Breaking balls or fastballs. Verlander's trying to pitch Cuthbert up and in.
He knows the situation here. He's looking for a pop-up. That's why he's trying to get in there. A little jam shot. Anything close, be hacking, because if you don't put it in play with authority, you still could get the run home.
Struck him out looking. So all those pitches in on him, and then Verlander puts him away with a breaking ball away.
Yep, good spot there. Now they're going to bring the infielders in.
So Brett Eibner is back. He suffered a sprained ankle on May 31st in a game against Tampa Bay here at Kauffman Stadium. He was 6 for 13, including a walk-off, before getting injured. And he takes a fastball upstairs.
High fastball is looking for a pop-up. Now he knows the situation similar to Cuthbert. He wants to keep the focus in the middle. Keep the focus in the middle. Big hole there with the infielders in. Even any little doinkers will work.
Two balls, no strikes. Eibner was 4 out of 24 with a home run. He played in 6 rehab games with AAA Omaha. Got a walk-off hit against the White Sox in his second major league game. That was that 7-run bottom of the 9th.
It was a game that a lot of folks, Royals fans, will never forget.
A series we'll never forget. Up the middle, base hit center field. So Eibner back in the lineup has an immediate impact. He drives in Paulo Orlando, and the Royals get the run back in the bottom of the second inning.
Verlander stayed firm. Still looking for the jam shot, a little roller over, but he left it out over the middle of the plate. Eibner with a quick, nice level swing, got in on him, but look, that's all he wanted to do there. Good focus. Right back up the middle. You can't beat it. Biggest hole out there. Eibner. Unbelievable. His 3rd major league RBI. 14th at bat.
Merrifield got the scoring started in the first inning with a leadoff single. Witt has now scored a run in 10 straight home games. That's the longest streak for a Royal in 16 years. Johnny Damon scored in 12 consecutive home games back in 2000. And he has been Mr. Consistency since Ned Yost put him in the lineup for the first time.
Yep, and you mentioned Johnny Damon, 2 totally different players at that stage in their careers. Johnny Damon more of a bunter, slasher type of hitter. Merrifield has got a little bit more juice this early in his career.
Witt spent a lot more time in the minor leagues than Johnny did. That is the 4th time that Verlander's thrown over to first base. So Verlander might have Brett Eibner confused with Brett Butler.
No, Eibner's got good speed.
Verlander wants the Tigers to take a look at that. He thinks that first base umpire Will Little missed a call and that Eibner was out.
Well, Eibner wants to just play it safe. I'm sure Rusty Kuntz is saying, hey, look, you know what? Don't give him an out here, okay? Just the way we're swinging the bat, the way Merrifield's swinging the bat, there's no need to get yourself picked off here.
Oh, and 2 on Merrifield. Eibner, by the way, has 35 minor league stolen bases, but that's over 6 years. The most he's ever had in a season is 10.
Look at Miguel messing with him. Messing with the young rookie, and Eibner, he's liking that. But look at where his lead is. He's taking a perfect lead. You want to stay inside of the base.
Back to Verlander, to Iglesias, to Cabrera, and that's the inning. But the inning begins with a Paulo Orlando triple. And with 1 out, Brett Eibner gets him home in Eibner's first game back from the disabled list. 3-1 Royals at the end of 2. president of the Manhattan Cross Country Club, which encourages lifetime fitness and enjoyment of running for kids in 8th grade and younger. The club, which was founded in 2004, has served thousands of youth. Initiated the Body First School Fitness Challenge, which is the largest fun run for kids in the state of Kansas. And Pat is sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at tonight's game.
Congratulations, Pat. Good looking family.
James McCann, Tiger catcher, done a nice job behind the plate. At the plate has been a different story, batting at just 188. There are only 2 catchers in the major leagues that have a higher caught stealing percentage than Salvador Perez, and that would be James McCann and Buster Posey. So this could be a long series when it comes to runners trying to advance with a stolen base.
He's got a McCann. Believe it. I talked to him before the game.
Did you come up with that on your own?
Matter of fact, I did.
Nice.
Yeah, I talked to him before the game. That's going to be Duffy's first walk.
Did want to walk a 188 hitter on 4 straight pitches. Ooh. Tigers have the leadoff man on. All right, tomorrow night it's Big Slick, our annual celebrity softball game, and it'll be on the big field before the Royals take on the Tigers. So come out and see local celebrities like Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, Rob Riggle, and all of their buddies from Hollywood. And Gene Lamont just happens to be in town. Royals.com/Big Slick for tickets.
Dun, 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 Gene Lamont, Gene Lamont. Dun, 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 Gene Lamont, Gene Lamont.
They'll be thrilled to know that Gene Lamont is in the Tiger dugout.
I think that was the same year that Will Ferrell was in there with them, because Gene Lamont, they were all over Gene Lamont, who was the third base coach. He's now the bench coach, and that was the same game that Bruce Chen was pitching, and that's when the "come on, Chen," it was Will Ferrell getting all over Bruce Chen.
I remember.
Base hit center field for Mike Aviles. So a leadoff walk and a base hit, and 2 on, nobody out for the top of the order. So really it's the first time that Duffy's dealt with any base runners. He got the Tigers 1, 2, 3 in the first. Martinez homered leading off the second. So a run home and yet nobody on base. And now McCann and Aviles on for Kinsler. He fouled out to Hosmer in the first inning. Breaking ball for a strike.
Nice idea. Kinsler, he's up there looking for one thing, and that's that heater over. He wants to put 3 runs on the board.
Oh, 2 to the former MU Tiger. And now Ian Kinsler is questioning the strike zone of Angel Hernandez.
Gave it to him. That's a good pitch. Right where you want to pitch a power hitter. Duffy's mainly a fly ball pitcher, but he has induced 2 ground ball double plays so far in 22 games, 6 starts.
Outside at 97. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kinsler's always done well against the Royals, going back to his days with the Rangers, but since going to the Tigers, his numbers have really spiked. Those are his career numbers over 88 games. He had 6 hits in the first series between the Royals and the Tigers. Last year he had 2 walk-off home runs against the Royals. That'll be back into the crowd, and it's still 2-2. Back into a nice crowd here tonight. It's a Buck night, so the Royals are playing well. They're back in first place in a tie after sweeping the Indians. They've won 5 straight overall. They've won 9 straight here at Kauffman Stadium, and it's Buck night.
How about it?
93 degrees at first pitch. It was 97 at first pitch last night. Let's see what Duffy goes with at 2-2. He's shown Kinsler everything in this at bat.
Yeah, and he's going to have to continue to do that against this powerful lineup. He threw a lot more breaking balls in his last outing against the White Sox than he did against the Orioles in that previous start. And you got to do that.
And it's a high breaking ball. Duffy has struck out 4.
Yep. He's gonna have to show that pitch to a right-handed dominated lineups because, you know, he's so good against left-handed batters. Managers don't put hardly any in the lineup.
Okay, so his pitch breakdown against the Tigers is much different from his first 6 starts, where he was about 70 to 75% fastball.
Yeah. And 3 of his 4 strikeouts have come on that breaking ball.
2 on 1 out to Jose Iglesias. He grounded to short his first time. Duffy will take that right here as a fastball cuts inside for ball 1.
He might like it a little more firmly hit, though. That was a jam shot. I don't know if they could have rolled 2 on that, but Esky made a really nice barehanded play. Straight up.
Changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Okay, there's a high shot. Now we'll watch. This is called double play depth. Escobar is in. Merrifield's in. Okay, they're not in their normal position. Normal position's back by the grass. And the reason they want to shorten up is so it takes them a little less time to get to the bag and turn 2. That's for you younger players out there just beginning.
Slide step. That's something that a hitter is really used to seeing with runners at first and second base, maybe a runner at first, but we've talked about that before. That Duffy will use that slide step not necessarily to throw the runners off, but to throw the hitter off.
And Iglesias shook his head saying, okay. Yeah, and it will throw you off.
On the ground, gonna have to hurry. Out at second. Not in time. So 2 down, and McCann goes to third.
Merrifield, strong arm. Esky would have liked it hit a little firmer, but Merrifield off balance, still with good ability to get it over there. Looks like he beat it.
So first and third with 2 down. And here's Miguel Cabrera. Now the Tigers as a team are the 2nd best in the American League in this situation, but not because of Miguel Cabrera. For his standards, he has really struggled with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. And Duffy's got him chasing pitches down and out of the strike zone.
So right before he struck out his first time up, I was talking about how he told me he couldn't explain why he's only hitting 180 off of lefties. But after further conversations with his hitting coach, Wally Joyner, Wally said that his injuries early didn't get timing off of lefties. He's been a little bit too aggressive against them. So it's just a matter of time before he fills in. That's David Newhand, assistant hitting coach.
Breaking ball is high and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball just missed, and Duffy hesitates after receiving the ball from Salvador Perez, surprised that wasn't called a strike.
That is exactly where he wants to pitch this future Hall of Famer.
Mentioned that Miguel Cabrera was just 2 out of 14 in the series here in April. That included a 4 strikeout game. 4 strikeouts in game 1 of that series. Had missed outside. 3 balls, 1 strike. Victor Martinez is on deck. Victor Martinez saw 1 pitch when he faced Duffy in the 2nd inning and hit a home run. Right field. Paulo Orlando is there to make the play, and now Miguel Cabrera is just 2 for 16 against the Royals so far this year. So the Tigers are scoreless. The Royals will have Escobar. He has scored a run. Hosmer, he has driven in a run. And Kane, he has driven in a run coming up. During their 5-game winning streak, and could spike even further with a boost from Alcides Escobar. He doubled. It was a bit of a gift on a ball that was misplayed on bad communication in left center field, but a double nonetheless. A run scored, and now Escobar has hit safely in 7 of his last 8 games.
Okay, he'll take it.
He came around and scored in that inning. Now you got 9 guys in a lineup, and I don't know if one guy scoring a run is more important than anybody else, but there are certain guys on every team that for whatever reason when they score the team wins, and that's the case with Escobar. 1 ball, 1 strike. Escobar had gone 15 games without scoring a run, but when he does score, the Royals are 15-2. So for whatever reason, his crossing home plate carries more weight than the other 8 guys. 1-2.
And that's why last season, towards the end of the year, Esky wasn't going through, he wasn't hitting much, and they dropped him back to the 9 hole. The Royals went into a little losing spell, and Ned put him back up there out of nowhere, and he said we win games when Esky's up there. Numbers don't say it, but that's just the karma. That's the mojo, whatever you want to call it.
Verlander strikes out his second. And now 1 down in the bottom of the 3rd inning, bringing up Eric Hosmer. He drove in the first run with a ground out in the 1st inning. Time for our Sprint trivia question for tonight. Who are the 3 major league players with more RBI as a first baseman than Eric Hosmer since 2011? Well, that's impressive that there are only 3. Of course, we always begin with in the house. So I'm gonna take that bait right there.
I think you should.
I got McCann.
Yep. Got him on the ankle. Time to reset. Can't take too long in that batter's box. You'll lose your focus.
Here's that cutter that you said Verlander calls a slider. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 41 driven in for Hosmer after that ground out in the 1st inning. That leads the Royals. Two and 2. Verlander gave up 2 in the 1st inning. Hosmer and Kane drove in the runs, and then Paulo Orlando opened the 2nd inning with a triple and scored on a base hit by Eibner, and on the triple by Orlando, Verlander and the Tigers lost J.D. Martinez after he collided with the wall. I would think teams would fan out more evenly when Hosmer has 2 strikes with his ability to go to left field.
Yeah. And Cleveland played Haas pretty much straight up with a 3rd baseman over in that hole, but Detroit's playing him a little bit more pull on that left side. But this is an excellent pitch here. That was a true slider there.
And now Lorenzo Cain. He had a bloop double to right field in the 1st inning, driving in Alcides Escobar. And with the Royals playing so well lately, it was easy to miss that Lorenzo Cain had really struggled in the month of June. He didn't have a single RBI on that long road trip. He is 2 for 2 tonight. Aviles cuts it off deep, and that holds Cain to a single. But last night, Lorenzo Cain had a double in the 1st inning. That was his first extra base hit this month. And then he hit another double in the 1st inning tonight.
Yep, nice to see. They got to have his production out of that 4-hole for sure, and the ability to hit extra bases. Now Aviles did a nice job busting it over there to the gap to keep Lorenzo Cain from hitting another double. Look at this on contact. Look, he took a perfect angle too. He didn't go straight across. He went diagonal towards the center fielder so he could catch that ball before it got by him. Good play out there by Aviles. Nice angle.
Salvador Perez flied out to center field in the first inning. So now Salvi is only 21 for 45 against Justin Verlander.
Man.
Kane runs. McCann, best in the major leagues in caught stealing percentage, and he will add to that as Kane is caught stealing and Verlander faces only 3 in the bottom of the third.
McCannon put it right there. Perfect.
Last night the Royals come up with 2 in the first inning against Justin Verlander and then add another run in the second. Victor Martinez hit a solo home run leading off the second against Danny Duffy, and it's Victor Martinez leading off the 4th inning. Jumped on the first pitch from Danny Duffy and hit it into the left field corner. That was his 10th home run of the year, and Victor Martinez has had a nice bounce back season, hitting at .335. That's 4th in the American League. Last year was the worst season of his major league career. The year before he was 2nd in the league for MVP.
He's our era's greatest switch hitter, without a doubt. The reason he was down last year, he had a lot of issues with his left knee, and you're getting most of your at bats from the left side of the plate. And when you can't put your weight on that back leg, you have a hard time getting leverage with your swing. So he struggled. Now this year, it's been his right knee that has given some problems.
1-2. Those are pretty balanced books in a long career, hitting over 300 from both sides of the plate. And as you mentioned, a lot more at bats left-handed. That's why the difference in home runs and runs driven in.
Keeps it simple. Doesn't have a lot of moving parts. Takes his hands right to the ball. And of course, you got to have a good lower half. You got to have some strength in them legs. And he does that. Sprays the ball all over the field, both sides of the plate. That's the reason why he's hitting his averages so high in his career from both sides. You can't pull your way to that kind of average.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's the subject of our University of Kansas hospital injury report. And that's what Hud was talking about, having problems with his left knee. It was a bruise. So tonight is his first start since Sunday. But no rust, as he saw 1 pitch in his first at bat and homer to left field.
He's a pro. Knows how to hit.
Another foul ball.
Now he's been hitting with a mouthpiece for several years now, but there's no fangs on him.
I don't think that's really Victor Martinez's style.
Nope.
Compared to the White Sox second baseman. Another foul ball. We were just showing you his career splits, and if you add up the RBIs, it surpasses 1,000. And when the Tigers were here in April, he picked up his 1,000th career RBI, becoming the 5th Venezuelan to accomplish that, along with his teammate Miguel Cabrera, as well as Bobby Abreu, Andres Galarraga, and another one-time Tiger, Maglio Ordonez. After 5 foul balls, Victor Martinez hits his second home run of the game, and that ball gets wet. It is 3-2, and both runs have come on Victor Martinez home runs.
Wow. You could tell by the 5 foul balls before he hit his 11th homer that he was on those pitches, change-ups, breaking balls, and there was a change-up that stayed up in the zone and was able to speed his bat up right on the barrel.
And that brings up Andrew Romine, not JD Martinez. JD Martinez ran into the wall trying to chase down Paulo Orlando's triple in the second inning, and came out favoring his right arm. It looked like he was, or the trainer was at least looking in the elbow region of his right arm.
Look at Paulo. He started out, he wasn't sure if it was going to stay foul or not, and then he kicked it in gear.
Escobar charges and throws out Romine. 1 down. As you know, Father's Day is just around the corner, so why don't you bring Dad out to Kauffman Stadium with the Royals and the Tigers. The first 10,000 men through the gates will receive a special edition KC barbecue spatula, and you can get your Father's Day tickets right now by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for an easier and more convenient way of purchasing your tickets. Here's Nick Castellanos. Breaking ball is outside. Castellanos drove Kane to the warning track in center field in the second inning. Two and 0. Back into the crowd. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here's another Tigers hitter who's had some trouble with lefties this year. He's done a lot of damage against righties. Castellanos early in his career was doing very well against lefties, and someone asked him if there was a reason, and he said, well, my dad is left-handed, and that's who threw me batting practice for most of my life, so he developed his swing as a youngster against lefties. And in the end, there's a difference between dad in the backyard and a major leaguer 60 feet 6 inches away.
Slightly. But he's used to facing more righties this year. He's got the pattern of the ball moving away from him. And then sometimes, you know, it's hard for a hitter to tell you why he's not hitting off the lefties. Ooh.
Castellanos ties the game, and the Tigers have hit 3 solo home runs against Danny Duffy. So he got a 3-1 pitch, and Castellanos hits his 13th of the year. And I'm sure that felt a lot like dad in the backyard.
Yeah, that fastball he was on, you could tell on contact, the sound, how clean it was hit, and the outfielder's not running very far. He knew it was out. Duffy came in with 6 home runs and all to righties. Now he's got 9, all from the right-handed side of the plate. Ball was leaving in a hurry.
Fastball strike to Justin Upton. Upton struck out looking at a curveball in the 2nd inning, his 86th strikeout of the year. And I looked at the league leaders and I thought, now where's that? And that is 3rd in the league. Mike Napoli, who we just saw in a 3-game series with the Indians, has struck out 92 times already. And then of course Chris Davis of the Orioles, you figure he's going to be in there. He struck out 87 times. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Justin Upton, 28 years old. And he's in his 9th major league season. And all of that were in the National League. And that's going to explain a little bit of why he's not producing like they expected him to. He's in a new league, different pitchers, trying to figure it out here the first time through. And there's a lot to that. You played your whole career in the National League. Now you're coming over here. It's a little bit different.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Both he and his brother Melvin, who went by BJ for many years, both got to the big leagues at the age of 19. Jammed. Should be easy for Hosmer. 2 down. Well, we just got word from the Tiger clubhouse, and I'm sure Brad Osmus is aware of this. JD Martinez has a fractured right elbow. Non-displaced fractured elbow, which usually means no surgery is required to set or reset the bone. But a fractured right elbow, and that was the area that their trainer was examining after he crashed into the wall, and we didn't know what it was. I didn't see him crash into the wall. I saw the ball drop, and I was watching Paulo Orlando. I thought maybe he had injured himself throwing the ball back to the infield, but he was holding his right arm and he was walking off the field before the Tigers trainer and Brad Osmus could even get to him. So he knew his body and he knew something was seriously wrong.
Yep, I didn't see it in the live action either, but when I saw the throw and he's got a good arm, I went, uh-oh. And then the next shot we saw was him bending down. And, you know, players are the first to know. If you're hurt, you're hurt. You could tell he was. That was not just a normal collision with the wall.
But I tell you, when you watch the replay, and I've seen this, and so have you. Well, let's go back to Mike Moustakas' broken thumb. Sometimes, you watch the replay. If JD Martinez didn't injure himself on that play, we wouldn't be up here going, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he didn't get injured." Right? I mean, it wasn't a real awkward or violent collision with the wall, but sometimes you just hit it just right, or in the case of the player, just wrong. So here he was with a broken elbow. Yeah, he knew. Three and one on McCann. Full count.
And how about Brett Eibner's injury when we saw it? Didn't look like he rolled his ankle. Like with our super slow motion cameras now, we get every angle. Hard to tell what that was.
We had a chance to visit with him. Remember when the fathers took batting practice in Baltimore, and we were out there, and he described it more as it was a twisted ankle, not a sprained ankle because he rolled it, but because he twisted it in an awkward way. Danny Duffy walks James McCann for a second time. So it's the first time in 7 starts that we've seen Danny labor, and now he'll chat with pitching coach Dave Eiland.
I could just read Dave's lips. You know what he said? Slow your body down. Body's getting a little bit too far out in front. When that happens, your arm drags behind and you leave the ball up and out of the zone.
And now Mike Aviles, who started the game in left field, and then after the injury to Martinez found himself in right field. Don't recall Aviles playing much outfield when he was with the Royals. He was mostly a shortstop in the Royals minor league system, and then he would have to move to another infield position when a prospect was coming up. He had to make way for somebody else, and along the way he started to learn other positions. Breaking balls for a strike, and then as fate would have it, Aviles passes a lot of those so-called prospects in the minor leagues and gets the Royals and plays shortstop in 2008 and is the Royals Player of the Year.
That's right. He's got heart.
On the ground to Merrifield. Inning over. The Tigers get 2 solo home runs. Victor Martinez hits his second of the game, and then Castellanos' home run ties it. Royals baseball is brought to you by Chevy. Visit your local Kansas City area Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. By Panera Bread, food as it should be with 24 Kansas City metro locations. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. And it's supposed to be hot every day for a while. Salvador Perez, Kendrys Morales, and Paulo Orlando coming up. And as Salvi digs in, let's go to Joel.
Well, September 3rd, there's going to be another Salvador Perez bobblehead, a Gatorade bucket bobblehead. And I had a chance to show Salvi that bobblehead. He had never seen it for the first time the other day. You ready?
Wow, man. I remember that was when I go to throw the water on next John, the manager, and when we won the World Series.
The bobbles. There it is. Real Salvi and the bobblehead bobbling with Gatorade bucket, and that one right down the line, almost taking out the ball boy. But he had no idea what was coming. And typical Salvi, he wanted to start the interview by taking the microphone and interviewing me. And I had to negotiate with them guys. I said, you want to know what's underneath this towel? Give me the microphone back. He was thrilled and very excited. September 3rd, first 20,000 fans.
So when can we look forward to Salvador Perez interviewing you?
We live in his world, whatever he wants, really.
Well, Verlander went up and in with the first pitch, and then Salvi hit a rocket off the left field line, and then Verlander drills Salvador Perez. So Nick Kenny comes out with Ned Yost.
It's the first time Salvi's been plunked all year. See where it gets him. A little bit on the tricep and the wrist. Fingers, knuckles.
Well, it probably scared him as much as anything else. Taking one off the back of the hand, off the knuckles. And like Joel said, it's Salvi's world, so much so that Salvi tells Miguel Cabrera, you can't hold me at first base. You have to play behind me, and physically moves him.
That's right.
Kendrys Morales grounded out to second base in the first inning. Slider is inside, 1-1.
So you wonder.
I do.
Yep. Morales has had good numbers against Verlander, but his success and him starting to come alive a little bit is due to him using the opposite field. But it looks to me like he's wanting to pull him. So what you're wondering is he going to think left field?
Well, there have been some signs that Morales is getting it back slowly but surely. He hit over 300 this past week with a home run. That home run was as a right-hand batter. Impressive, but never fair. I think I saw a glove reach up for that foul ball, or maybe it was someone's cap. But I don't think typically fans who sit in that area of Kauffman Stadium are expecting any kind of a souvenir.
I would agree. If you look at Morales, look where he's standing. He is right on top of that dish. I mean, that back leg Just right there, hands out over the plate.
Right where Verlander wanted it. Fastball up. That is number 4 for Verlander. And now Paulo Orlando, he tripled into the right field corner leading off the second inning. Came home on a Brett Eibner base hit. Paulo's second triple of the year. Again, trying to go to the opposite field.
Paulo Orlando is figured out that he's not going to be an everyday player unless he uses the whole field. So he's figured, hey, look, he probably pulled a lot in his career, but up here, where those right-handed pitchers make that living with sliders on the outside part of the plate consistently, he's shortened up his swing and he's become a good major league hitter.
Another shot at right field, and that's back into the crowd. Pitching's been a problem for the Tigers the last 2 years. Very little trouble on the mound. 2011 through 2014, they won the division all 4 of those years, but 4.56 as a staff the last 2 seasons. And that's overall. They've had big time trouble with their bullpen. Royals have the best bullpen ERA in the major leagues. The Tigers are 13th in the American League. So while Verlander is off to a good start, the game most likely will be decided by those guys out in the right field bullpen. Aviles into the corner and makes a play. So 2 down with Salvador Perez at first base and Cheslor Cuthbert coming up. The Royals and Fox Sports Kansas City are offering a unique way for fans across the Midwest to enjoy a game here at Kauffman Stadium. It's the Forever Royal Fan Express. Next stop is St. Joe on June 25th. Fans in designated markets will have the opportunity to win a trip to Kauffman Stadium. Go to Royals.com/Fan Express for more information.
All aboard.
I think Cheslor will try and sit on a curveball in this at bat.
I sure hope so. He just missed one his last time up. I don't know if Verlander will throw it.
First pitch fastball.
He was on it.
Fastballs and breaking balls inside on Cuthbert to set him up, and then Verlander threw one of his best pitches of the night. A curveball over the outside part of the plate and got Cuthbert looking.
Cheslor Cuthbert, when you watch him get into the batter's box, he lays his bat on his shoulder. This is good. You're relaxing. You're just keeping your hands loose. You're just being comfortable. See, now he's going to leave that bat on his shoulder until the last minute. When he goes to swing, he's going to tighten everything up, but you want to stay loose and relaxed.
1-2.
I notice he's still using Eric Hosmer's bat. Verlander pitching effectively up in the zone. 4 seamers up.
This time he strikes him out with a fastball. Verlander has struck out 5. At the end of 4, the Royals and Tigers are tied at 3.
City in Oakland in our Premier Mazda game break. No hitter for Colby Lewis in the 9th. Max Muncy, almost caught by Nomar Mazara. That breaks up the no hitter. Lewis goes the distance, ends up giving up 2 hits. Rangers win it 5-1. Ryan?
Oh, man. On a ball that hit Mazara's glove. Now, it was a tough play, but when it hits his glove with a no-hitter on the line.
That late in the game, you got to concentrate and make that catch. Oh, even though it's a tester, you mentioned it. Stayed on it. Had it.
Oh, it was in there.
Had it. Oh, man.
Top of the order for the Tigers. 2-0 on Ian Kinsler. Yonder Alonso walked against Lewis in the 8th inning. He had a perfect game into the 8th. So he lost the perfect game in the 8th, the no-hitter, and the shutout in the 9th.
I'm sure Buzz was calling that game. You know, he was into it.
And Steve Busby had 2 no-hitters as a Royal. And now a longtime Rangers broadcaster as Joakim Soria warms up. Danny Duffy hasn't gone more than 88 pitches in any start. This is pitch number 79. 2-2 on Kinsler.
I've liked his tempo. I've liked the execution of his pitches. It's going to happen at this level. You're going to get hit by these hitters. But I like how he's mixing all of his pitches in.
No swing. Will Little is the first base umpire. The phone rings again down in the Royals bullpen, so that's probably the get Soria game ready call. Got him to chase a pitch up and maybe out of the strike zone. Tough time of night. Merrifield didn't see it, but Paulo Orlando did, and I don't know if Lorenzo Cain saw it.
Yep, twilight, dangerous time. And usually infielders see it longer than the outfielders, and infielders point to it. And so the outfielder, when he puts his arms in the air, he's looking at the infielder pointing to it, and then he tries to pick it up. But Merrifield didn't see it. No problem. Paulo found it.
Which begs the question. If somebody points to the ball in the sky, do you find it?
Well,
it's right there. No. A little more to your right. It's right there.
Well, sometimes direction of the ball helps. And they've been doing that ever since the game's been invented.
Now that's what players do. I say that tongue-in-cheek because I've seen players do that my whole life, and yet I've wondered how many guys have accurately pointed the baseball out to somebody else in the sky.
Well, think about that. That's just the natural reaction.
Line to left, right at Eibner. So Iglesias, with that major league best 13-game hitting streak, is 0 for 3. All right, here's Miguel Cabrera. Our sprint trivia question for tonight. There are 3 major league players with more RBIs as a first baseman than Eric Hosmer since 2001. So I think he's one of them. I'm also going to go with Paul Goldschmidt of the Diamondbacks. How about you?
Adrian Gonzalez.
We'll go with Adrian Gonzalez. Holtze's shaking his head at you. All right, give us another chance now that we know it's wrong. Oh, he's right. I'm wrong. Whoa. Hang on. How about Prince Fielder? How about Albert Pujols? 1 ball, 1 strike. Freddie Freeman, who hit for the cycle last night.
Really? I didn't see it.
Duffy fields, Cabrera jogs, and Duffy has plenty of time to get Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera is 2 out of 17 against the Royals this year. Tigers down 1-2-3. Brett Eibner will lead off, then Whit Merrifield and Alcides Escobar in the bottom of the 5th. Tigers, and we're tied at 3 going to the bottom of the 5th inning. And those frozen lemonades right there are going to get a lot of business tonight.
Sure look good.
Brett Eibner in his first at bat, back from the disabled list, drove in Paulo Orlando with a single in the 2nd inning. And now Eibner drives it into deep center field. That is gone. Brett Eibner. His first major league home run comes against Justin Verlander, and the Royals retake the lead.
Well, we heard all about his power, but on that ball, to go opposite field for your first big league home run against the former Cy Young Award winner, that's right up there with Whit Merrifield taking Price deep. So both rookies taking Cy Young Award winners deep for their first major league homers. That's awesome. And a high fastball. Verlander's had success in previous innings. He tried to sneak a piece of cheese by a hungry rat. And Eibner says, you know what? I can deposit you. Hoppage. Congratulations.
1 ball, 1 strike on Whit Merrifield.
Well, Ryan, thank you for correcting me. I thought that Merrifield, who's hitting now, took Price deep for his first major league homer. I was wrong. It was his first big league hit he got off of Price. So Eibner one-upped him. Took a Cy Young Award winner deep.
2-2 on Merrifield.
But I can't believe Eibner was looking up there, because some of the guys are coming back to the dugout saying, look, that fastball's up, but you got to be careful. If it's up too much, you're going to miss. Whit Merrifield's first home run came off of Carlos Carrasco. First big league hit off of Price. Got a little excited there, Ryan.
I still love the spirit of it.
Thank you.
6 strikeout for Verlander. 1 down in the bottom of the 5th.
To be able to get extension on this high fastball from Verlander, you got to get started earlier, and he did. He got started soon enough, and he caught it out in front. And Duffy says, thank you for picking me up. That's right. I'm hoping you'll save that for Eibner. Maybe you'll get a little trade-off.
Ball 1 to Escobar. He doubled and scored in the first inning, and is 1 for 2. One ball, 1 strike.
All right, now we'll start the negotiation process.
Two balls and 1 strike. You got to get an autographed bat, autographed ball,
Yeah.
right? Maybe some batting gloves.
Hey, how about, hey, I'd like a jersey to remember the
There you go.
moment.
Okay.
How about give me an Eibner jersey? Have him sign it.
Swim in the fountains without getting arrested.
Long run for Miggy. I don't know. Oh.
Nice casual grab,
just-
approaching the tarp.
Ho hum.
Congratulations. Fred Eibner will get that souvenir, and that young fellow will also get some sort of souvenir. There it is. That's a good shot of what a rubbed up baseball looks like. They arrive bright white, and now Hosmer gets hit on the foot. And those, they call the brand new ones a pearl because they're so bright and white. But that was a great shot to show. What is it again? Delaware river mud. Is that what they use to rub up a baseball?
That's correct.
There's Isaac, the Royals' chief negotiator. Lorenzo Cain is 2 for 2 against Verlander, and Verlander starts him off with a changeup. There you go. Take a picture of it.
Ryan, I was reaching down in my bag when Eibner hit that ball, and I heard it, and I immediately snapped my head up. It sounded loud, and I went, uh-oh, where's that going? And I picked it up, so I wasn't watching it on contact, but I heard it. The sound tells you a lot.
Off the plate, and Iglesias realized the best option was second base. Brett Eibner hits his first major league home run, leading off the bottom of the 5th inning, and puts the Royals back out in front.
Pass out a set of earplugs. Wow, was that loud?
our AT&T high-speed replays. Danny Duffy goes 5 innings tonight. He only allows 4 hits. 3 of those hits are solo home runs. Victor Martinez hit 2 solo home runs. Nick Castellanos added a solo home run. Duffy walked only 2 in his 5 innings, but thanks to Brett Eibner's first major league home run, Duffy still has a chance to win it as the Royals turn it over to the bullpen, and we welcome in Jeff Montgomery. What's your assessment of Danny Duffy tonight?
Well, I thought he was good. He wasn't as good as he was in his last couple of starts, and I thought the real key for him was the percentage of strikes he threw. About 70% in his other starts. Tonight, only 60% strikes. So I think that's a big difference in him tonight.
There was a little bit of command issues, but still, I like the way he competed.
Absolutely.
He wasn't backing down just because Martinez took him deep on the fastball early in the game. Duffy stayed right with it.
And if you look at a pitcher's outing similar to Ian Kennedy's last night, maybe the line score's not great, giving up the 4 runs, 2 on the 2-run home runs each, but he missed a lot of bats. And I think, you know, when you give up the home runs, oftentimes it's maybe accentuated just a little bit. But I thought Danny's stuff was good tonight, just not quite as crisp as he was in the other start.
So Joakim Soria is a Chevy call to the bullpen. Soria came up big during the Cleveland series on Tuesday. Pitched an inning and 2/3 on a night when the Royals didn't have Luke Hochevar, Kelvin Herrera, or Wade Davis, and still won a 1-run game with Cleveland. 2-1. Martinez, as a right-hand batter, hit 2 home runs against Danny Duffy, now batting left-handed, and he's just 1 for 11 against Soria.
Good reason to make the pitching change.
That's right, and you can't get a better parting gift than what Eibner did. He wrapped that up perfectly for Danny Duffy.
Royals have all kinds of time, and Hosmer realizes that, so he takes it to the bag himself. And that'll bring up Andrew Romine. Romine came on defensively in the 2nd inning when J.D. Martinez crashed into the wall in the right field corner. And we just found out an inning ago that J.D. Martinez has fractured his right elbow. Romine, like Victor Martinez, is a switch hitter, and he takes outside, ball 1.
Ryan, you were talking about Joakim Soria's last outing when he came in and did such a nice job and stranding runners, ends up getting the win in the game. I thought that was one of his most important games he's pitched all season.
Well, here's what the Royals bullpen has done lately in the last 7 games, and the Royals have won 5 of those 7 games. A 0.92 ERA over 19 2/3 innings.
I like that too. That batting average is low. They're not getting much off of them.
Why his most important outing of the year?
Well, just a situation where you needed some innings. You didn't have guys behind you to back you up, and it was really like, even though he wasn't getting a save, it was as though he was back in that closer's role. Now, he had that opportunity for a save the first game of the trip in Cleveland. Didn't go well, but defense let him down. So it wasn't necessarily a bad outing by him. It just didn't get the outs. But I thought that game the other night was really important for him. Great for his confidence.
Castellanos homered last time up. Soria just missed his inside. Castellanos just missed a home run in his first at bat. He drove Lorenzo Cain to the warning track in center field and then homered to left center in the 4th.
Fastball, slider, big slow curveball at times, and a changeup, and we've seen him split his fingers on that off-speed changeup as well. He's not gonna just go up there and throw 1 pitch or 2 pitches and mix them all.
Didn't sound like he got all of it, but you never know tonight. And that ball is driven to the warning track, and Romine heads up play. He'll move up on the long fly ball. So that's the third time that Kane has gone to the warning track on a ball hit by Castellanos. One of those three ended up on the other side of the wall.
And great tag up there. Plays in front of him. Kane was deep on the track. Saw it and got in his scoring position.
And now Justin Upton. 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout. Good fastball over the inside edge. You mentioned Soria splitting his fingers with his changeup. Monty, I don't remember that about him, and I was watching the Fox Sports Kansas City feed doing radio during the Cleveland series, and you guys had a nice close-up of what looked like a changeup and realized that really that was a splitter.
Yeah, it looks like a split change.
Okay.
Not necessarily that tumbling effect that a lot of times you get on a fork ball, but it had that rotation, different rotation.
Here's the slow curveball, 72 miles an hour, and it's 1-2 on Upton.
Even though he developed maybe that split change, we've seen that slow curve since his arrival in the major leagues.
Here's the pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That time the pitch diving down and in to Upton. Yep, there's the grip. I don't remember that.
No, I don't either. It's seemingly a new pitch for him.
Strike 3 over the inside. And Upton's frustrating season continues as he strikes out 2 more times tonight and 87 times this year. Royals baseball is brought to you by Thoroughbred Ford. Ready for a great deal on a new Ford? Then it's time to go to Thoroughbred Ford. Big crowd on a hot Kansas City night. Royals are going for their 10th consecutive home victory. It'll be Salvador Perez, Kendrys Morales, and Paulo Orlando in our Sonic Slam inning. Curveball is low to Salvi. Our contestant tonight is Ronald Adams from Independence, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning, Ronald wins $600. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Ronald wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. And on a night like tonight, as you'd expect, the ball is flying. The Tigers have hit 3 home runs. The Royals have hit 1. That was Brett Eibner's first big league home run in the bottom of the 5th inning to put the Royals in front. Base hit right field. I don't even know if that pitch was a strike. When Salvador Perez shows off some impressive wingspan.
Yeah, and you know, when you're in that kind of groove right now, it doesn't matter. You're going to find holes, and that was a great weight. That ball's way outside, but he's long-armed and just stayed right out there, kept his head on it. Backside fell out just a little, but that head position was nice.
Salvi has an 8-game hitting streak. He has had a huge homestand. Kendrys Morales is 0 for 2 so far against Verlander. Fastball with late movement.
Climbed the ladder on Morales last time up when he struck him out. Went with a couple of breaking balls early and finished him off with the letter high heater.
One and one.
Guys, my assessment of Verlander is not, he knows how to pitch now. You can tell this guy's been in this league for a long time. If you took the name and number off his uniform, you wouldn't know it was Justin Verlander. You would think it's a veteran pitcher that's out there understanding what it takes to be successful.
And he's still throwing 94, 95. Look at that breaking ball. So maybe he can't reach back and hit 97, 98. When he was a younger Justin Verlander and winning the Cy Young, winning the MVP. But I mean, it's not like, you know, he's throwing in the upper 80s, low 90s.
Well, he went through that spell a couple years ago where his velocity was down. He was getting hit around hard, but it seems to me now he's healthy and he knows how to pitch. He's never going to throw 100 again, but he's, you know, mid-90s is not too bad.
Gabe Morales says no swing. So 2-2 on Kendrys Morales. Remember, this Saturday, the Royals are giving away the Kendrys Morales 2015 ALDS bobblehead. All of the bobbleheads this year showcase special moments from the 2015 run. Make sure you collect all 5. Full count. 96.
And that's the one he got him on last time out, except it was a little more out over the plate. So he tried to go back there.
In these last couple of seasons, he's really learned what works best for him. You're seeing a pitcher now that's throwing the ball extremely well. The Royals have gotten to him a little tonight, but throwing very well coming into this start.
Ooh, good swing. There have been so many times this year where it looks like Morales is so close. And how much, we can't count him obviously, but 25, 30 times maybe this year he's had a swing just like that where he just missed it. Where last year he hits that ball in the gap somewhere.
And you know, he's going to get a little help this year with Eibner up here, a healthy Eibner. He'll get some DH time, but Morales doesn't have to carry the team by himself. Last year was a heck of a year for him, but he doesn't have to carry him.
Right, and the thing I've noticed, it seems like his backside's dropping down a little bit, more so than I remember from last year. It seemed like he was right on every pitch last year. He wasn't giving up those at bats. Sometimes he drops that back shoulder, and it's just a habit you get into.
I don't remember him trying to pull everything from the left side like he has this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And they just keep pitching him inside.
Right. And he's an excellent opposite field hitter when his mind's there. But you're right, Monty. He's popping up a lot and also hitting the top of a lot of balls, and you're collapsing that back leg. That happens.
Luke Hochevar's getting ready for the top of the 7th inning. Had a good breaking ball tonight. 0-2.
Yeah, really nice tilt. This is a ball that essentially rolls right off the table. That's a 12-6 curveball.
Off the end of the bat. Verlander to first for the 2nd out. Perez moves up to second base. Talking about a younger Justin Verlander, he was almost unbeatable. It took the Royals 10 tries to beat him for the first time. In his last 17, he's been .500 against the Royals. ERA right around that quality start range. Justin Verlander threw his first major league shutout against the Royals 10 years ago. And talking about the old Justin Verlander, first big league shutout here in 06, he was throwing 99 in the 9th inning. He was one of those guys, the rare guy, and Bartolo Colon was like that, a younger Bartolo Colon, where they would seem to gain velocity as the game would go along.
Strong and young, believe it.
I remember that from Brett Saberhagen here in Kansas City. He gets his inning 7, 8, 9. It's a different guy out there. Guys can almost smell that finish line, find a way to get there.
Cuthbert has struck out looking at a curveball. He saw a lot of curves his first time up, and then a lot of fastballs his second time up, and struck out swinging.
You know, along those lines, Nolan Ryan threw hard his entire 25 years, or how many years he pitched in the big leagues. And talking with Ken Harrelson, early in Ryan's career, Hawk said he threw nothing but fastballs. That's all he threw. He didn't have a secondary pitch. Still was tough. When you got that kind of velocity, you can get away with mistakes in the middle of the plate. But you explain that by Nolan Ryan was I mean, he was, I don't want to call him a freak, but he had that physical ability, and he trained like a madman. That's why he's able to keep that velocity his entire career.
That's one thing that stands out to me, is going into Arlington and watching Nolan Ryan work out on his off days when he wasn't pitching. The workouts he did in the training room and out on the track running around. I mean, the guy was you said he wasn't a freak. I think he was a freak.
Okay, since you said it, Monty, I'll get on there with you.
Three and two. All right, Rex Hudler, put yourself in Cheslor Cuthbert's shoes right now. What should he be looking for?
Struck him out on the curve a couple other at bats. He's going to go high fastball right here. Let her high.
High fastball, 97. And that's the first walk given up by Verlander. Here comes Brett Eibner, and let's check in with Joel.
And what a thrill for Brett Eibner. Our ram drive of the game. His first career home run put the Royals up in the 5th inning. It came off of Justin Verlander, and what a ride it has been for Brett Eibner, who, if you look at the 8, 9, and 1 spot of the batting order, 3 buddies that have been at it for a long time, Cuthbert, Eibner, and then Merrifield. 2011, Cuthbert and Eibner played together in low A, and then all 3 of them have played together in 2012, 13, 14, and 15, from A ball all the way up now to the big leagues.
So that would be the next wave, as Dayton Moore described his very first year as general manager. Strike to Brett Eibner. You want to get a wave of players that play together in the minor leagues, win together in the minor leagues, come to the big leagues together, and then you always want to have another wave coming behind that one. So wave number 2, Eibner, Merrifield, Cuthbert, and you could maybe throw Paulo Orlando in that group. This is just Paulo's 2nd year. Line left field, sinking, and Upton comes up to make the play. So the Royals strand 2. Eibner hits it hard again, and at the end of 6, Eibner's home run is still the difference. 4-3 KC. Brett Eibner gave the Royals a lead in the 5th inning with his first major league home run. Game 2 is tomorrow night, Saturday. The game can be seen on Fox. And then on Sunday, back here on Fox Sports Kansas City. Fizz is doing that game on Saturday, right?
He is.
C.J. Nitkowski, is that right?
I'm not sure who his partner is going to be.
Luke Hochevar will pitch the top of the 7th inning. He'll get James McCann, Mike Aviles, and Ian Kinsler. Danny Duffy went 5. Joakim Soria pitched the 6th. So looks like Ned Yost has it all laid out there for Soria, Hochevar, Herrera, and Davis. So long as the Royals maintain the lead. James McCann batting at 188. Walked twice. Danny Duffy only walked 2, and he's walked very few as a starter, but the 2 walks were to McCann. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Poach 4-seamer first pitch, 95. He might top out at 97. Saw the curve in his cutter. Be extremely effective because he's got great command with it.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
When Luke was a starting pitcher, I didn't like the cutter a lot for him. But as a relief pitcher, it just seems like he has the ability to shave those corners, both inside and outside corners, off almost at will. And it's made a huge difference for him.
Yeah, and you know, Dave Island, he didn't like him either. He thought Hochevar needed to consolidate. He thought he had too many pitches.
Ooh. Breaking ball stayed up. And James McCann, a 188 hitter, has walked twice and now tied the game with a home run. And that's the Tigers' 4th home run tonight. And it's number 4 for McCann.
That's that hanging curve. And he just took a nice rip, almost like he knew it was coming.
Yeah, there was no flinch making an adjustment there. It looked like that's a pitch he was looking for all along.
Ooh. Didn't miss it.
And now Cutter's off the end of the bat. Hosmer will take it to the bag himself, and Mike Aviles is out. He's 1 for 3. Take a look at our T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. Freddie Freeman hit for the cycle for the first time in his career. Now he had extra innings to work with. The last hit he needed was a single, and got that in the 11th against the Reds. First since Mark Kotsay to do it for the Braves. That was back in 2008. The Royals haven't had a cycle since what, 1990?
I think I remember George Brett doing it against Blue Jays.
Yeah, at then Sky Dome, now Rogers Center.
Actually, I think it may have been at the old ballpark, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, Sky Dome, I believe, opened in '89.
I just remember playing a couple years up in the old ballpark, and it was cold.
Now Kinsler lines it into left center field, and Eibner makes a play. That was that same area where Eibner injured his ankle on May 31st. And Ian Kinsler, you might want to sit down when I tell you this. Ian Kinsler is 0 for 4 tonight.
He's quite a player. Not just offensively, defensively, he's got nice skills. Eibner, good speed, and as Ned said before the game, an above average outfielder.
The way that sounded off the bat, I'm not 100% sure it didn't break his bat, and that thing still went almost to the wall.
Sure can't tell a lot by the sound, huh, Monty?
Yeah.
Outfielders try to get that depending on the crowd noise and everything, because that helps them get the read off the bat too. Infielders don't have to worry so much about the sound, but what infielders are more concerned with is the dark bats. You can't see it through the zone. You can't see the swing through the zone, so you're just looking in that area. And I remember walking up going, wow, that's not good. The lighter bats, you see it easier on the infield.
Jose Iglesias has the longest current hitting streak in the major leagues at 13 games. He is 0 for 3 so far. And now he has a 14-game hitting streak. On a 1-2 pitch, Iglesias is on for Miguel Cabrera.
Coach getting some pitches up. That's why they're able to put those balls in play in the air. Although he just stayed down through that. That's a good swing. Nothing wrong with that one. Cutter on the outer half, caught too much of the plate. Yes, he's got some hops. He showed it there, but not those guys.
Cutter is taken high to Cabrera. Big numbers against Hochevar, although just like when you look at numbers against Wade Davis, the immediate question would be, when did he get those numbers against Hochevar as a starter or a reliever? Since Hochevar has gone to the bullpen, and here's the answer to the question, Cabrera's just 1 for 4, so the majority of that damage was done when Hochevar was a starting pitcher. Two and one.
The one thing I remember about Cabrera that makes him so dangerous, like we saw Salvador Perez go out and get that pitch that was a foot off the plate. He hit balls sometimes out of the ballpark to where off the plate away, opposite field.
I remember a home run he hit off of Aaron Crow one year for a walk-off. That was about 6 or 7 inches outside. Timeout had been called. So it's still 2-1 on Cabrera. Well, he was the one asking for time, but he did the right thing. He stayed in the box until timeout was actually called.
Good point. Kept his focus.
That'll be back into the crowd. 2-2.
Cabrera, he's listed at 6'4", 240. He's a big man and very strong. And when you have the knowledge of hitting, you put that in that body, you put that mind there. That's what you're getting, a Hall of Famer.
Didn't he hit a home run in his first game? Maybe his first major league hit was a home run. It was pretty apparent
with the Marlins.
Yeah, that he had something special.
Right field, deep. Paulo at the fence, and it's gone. An opposite field home run for Miguel Cabrera, and the Detroit Tigers have hit 5 home runs. And they lead for the first time tonight.
Well, you could tell on those foul balls, and Hoch was staying out there. And we just talked about him, how he can go to the opposite field. He figured out he's going to stay out there on that outer half, and that's what you get.
He stayed alive long enough to get a pitch he could handle. And that was a pitch off the plate.
And now Victor Martinez, who has hit 2 of the 5 home runs. It's the second time this year the Tigers have hit 5 home runs in one game. Miguel Cabrera had been 2 for 17 against the Royals this year before that home run. One and one on Victor Martinez. Martinez had been bothered by a bruised left knee. He had not started a game since Sunday, but on the first pitch that he saw tonight from Danny Duffy, he homered, and then in his next at bat he fouled off 5 pitches in a row and hit his second home run of the game. Hochevar jumps ahead, 1 ball 2 strikes.
Royals bullpen been cruising along, but you know they're only human. They're going to miss some pitches. Only pitch really Hoch missed with was a hanging curveball to McCann.
Martinez strikes out. The inning is over. James McCann homers to lead off the inning, and then with 2 down, Miguel Cabrera. It's his 13th home run of the year, and the Tigers take a 6-4 lead into the bottom of the 7th inning. As they're down for the first time, 6-4, bottom of the 7th. Top of the order coming up. Remember to vote for the Royals Player of the Month at one of the 7 Rally House locations in the KC metro area. All participants will be entered to win a majestic prize pack. There's a candidate right here. Whit Merrifield, hitting well over 300 in the month of June, and with a run scored tonight, has scored a run at home in 10 straight games. Last night he came to the plate and the crowd was chanting his name, and he delivered with a base hit to right field.
He would love to get the crowd back into this game tonight.
Slow roller out to Kinsler, and there's one down. Witt is 1 for 4.
Depending on how many more pitches Verlander has, this might be his last inning. They got a little action up, lefty and a righty.
You don't think they'll leave him in for 131 pitches?
Not this year. His highest this year was in April. He threw 118 pitches.
'93 with movement. Alcides Escobar is 1 for 3. Shane Green, the righty. Justin Wilson, the lefty. Ready to go as Verlander is about to throw his 100th pitch. On the ground to Iglesias. 2 outs. After a weather-shortened day at Oakmont, first-round coverage of the 116th U.S. Open will continue tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central on FS1, followed by regular second-round play on FS1 and Fox, or you can watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. Slow curveball to Hosmer. For 2 with a first inning RBI. Hosmer's also been hit by a pitch. Two balls and 1 strike.
One thing really noticeable about the difference in Justin Verlander is his ability now to turn over his fastball. He gets really nice life, even though he's down velocity wise. He's getting great life on that fastball. You see a lot of ground balls, fewer strikeouts, although he's getting some strikeouts as well.
Said 2-1. It is now 1-2 on Hosmer. Royals have really had to respect that pitch tonight. He's put that curveball basically everywhere and anywhere he has wanted to. Gets away from McCann, and that's the inning. Justin Verlander in 7 innings gives up 4 runs on 8 hits. That is his 7th strikeout. Detroit leads 6-4.
6-4, and those hugs might mean they'll get a crack soon at the bullpen. Panera takes us around the league. Told you about Colby Lewis with the near no-hitter. Seattle wins 6-4. New York right now on top of Minnesota 4-1, and the New York Mets, the Royals head there Tuesday and Wednesday, defeat Pittsburgh 6-4. Our Premier Mazda game break takes us down to St. Petersburg, and that would be the home run swing of Kyle Seager. The Seattle Mariners win it. They are 35-31. Pretty good record. Only problem is they're 6.5 games behind the red-hot Texas Rangers.
Thank you, Joel. Here's Peter Moylan. And how about the Seattle Mariners hitting home runs all those years when Seattle just could not produce any offense at all? Mariners have the second most home runs in the American League, trailing only Baltimore. Speaking of Baltimore, that was the last time that Peter Moylan pitched 9 days ago in Baltimore, and he pitched 2 scoreless innings. Andrew Romine takes a strike, 0-1.
Sinker, slider, changeup. Had some good movement on that last pitch there on the corner.
One and one to Romine. He is 1 for 2 after entering the game in the second inning when J.D. Martinez crashed into the right field wall and fractured his right elbow. That'll drop in front of Paulo Orlando, and the Tigers have their leadoff man on in the 8th inning. Romine is 2 for 3. Nick Castellanos has one of the 5 Tigers home runs, and he's come very close to hitting 3 home runs tonight. His 2 outs both took Lorenzo Cain to the warning track. Moylan is in with a strike.
Castellanos only grounded into 2 double plays this year. Now he stays inside the ball well, uses the whole field. Maybe that's one of the reasons. He's not trying to pull a lot of pitches, and off Moylan, who can get his sinker working, that's what he wants him to do.
Or a big sweeping slider. Outside, 1 and 2. The Tigers scored 3 against Danny Duffy. Danny went 5. Joakim Soria did not allow a run in the 6th inning, and then the Tigers got 3 against Hochevar in the 7th. Two and 2. So Moylan trying to hold the Tigers right here and set up a final 2 innings between one of the best comeback teams in the later innings in the American League and one of the worst bullpens in the American League.
Just like Kipnis told me yesterday. He said, you know, the Royals, they keep coming. You never know when they're going to strike. They got them late, Cleveland. Second game.
Romine takes off, and that is ball 4. 2 on and nobody out. You can get closer to the action here at Kauffman Stadium with the Royals Memories program. Choose amongst a variety of unique opportunities, such as photos on the field, watching batting practice, and delivering the game ball. All experiences are available for purchase each game exclusively through the MLB.com ballpark app. And now the struggling Justin Upton. Oh for 3 with 2 strikeouts. And 87 strikeouts this year. Moylan is in with a strike.
That's right where he wants to stay.
That's a fair ball up the right field line. Romine scores. Castellanos goes to third. So Upton goes the other way, gets his first hit of the game, and now the Tigers' lead is 3. Still nobody out.
But he waited till that ball was deep, almost hit it out of Salvi's glove. You're going to go the opposite field. That's what you got to do. Just wait on it.
And now James McCann, who homered to straightaway center field against Hochevar, leading off the 7th inning. He's also walked twice, and he's a tough guy to walk. Over the inside for strike 1. Plenty deep into center field. Both runners are tagging, but only one runner will advance. Kane makes a good throw to second base. Castellanos scores. Upton stays at first, and now it's 8-4 Detroit. James McCann has driven in 2 tonight. Inside to Aviles. Justin Verlander, over 100 pitches appears to be done for tonight. And the Royals are looking forward to getting into that Tigers bullpen. They were down by 2 when this inning began. Now they're down by 4. But the Tigers, just a few nights ago on Monday, they blew a 7-0 lead. They had a 7-0 lead early against James Shields and the White Sox, and Chicago won that game in extra innings. Escobar will take care of Aviles, 2 down, and Upton goes to second base. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals baseball organization. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler with Joe Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery, producer Brian Shapiro, director Steve Kurtenbach, and associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and Dave Holtzman. Ian Kinsler is 0 for 4. So the Tigers have scored 8 runs against the Royals, and Ian Kinsler has nothing to do with it.
That's a shocker.
up until right now. 9-4 Detroit. The Tigers have scored 6 runs in the last 2 innings against the Royals bullpen. So before you turn off your television, take a look at our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Tigers have the 13th best or 3rd worst earned run average in the American League. They have given up the 3rd most home runs, and they're down around the bottom with inherited runs scored. But the Royals are down to their last 6 outs on offense. Luke Hochevar took over in the 7th inning. The Royals had a 1-run lead, and James McCann hit a home run to tie it. And then Hochevar got 2 outs. He got Aviles on a ground out, Kinsler on a line out, and then Jose Iglesias down in the count 1-2 singled to extend his hitting streak to 14 games, and that brought Miguel Cabrera to the plate, and Cabrera hit a 2-run home run. One ball and 2 strikes. Shin Ming Wong warms up as Moylan is over 20 pitches in the top of the 8th inning. At a play. I think I just saw a sign behind the Tiger dugout with a fan asking if he could have Miguel Cabrera's pants after the game.
Really?
Or
I couldn't quite make out the sign.
Am I seeing things? Escobar charges, bare hands, and it's in and out of his right hand. It's a base hit for Iglesias, and the inning continues.
That's the only chance he had. Sometimes you're going to make them, sometimes you're not. When you got a speedy runner like that, that's forget the glove and transfer there. I don't know if he'd have gotten him anyway.
And now Cabrera and his pants. Slider for a strike. That's a heck of a request.
Yep. If that's what that sign read, it stretched it a little. I don't like his chances.
Jammed him. So Kane makes the play. The Tigers, after getting 3 in the 7th inning, get 3 more in the 8th. To the bottom of the 8th, the Royals are down by 5. Baseball is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. 9-4 Tigers. They have scored 6 runs against the Royals bullpen tonight, and now it's the Tiger bullpen and Shane Green in the bottom of the 8th after Justin Verlander gave up 4 runs in 7 innings. Green started the season and the Tigers rotation. Throws a good slider to Lorenzo Cain, and then early in the season Green was on the disabled list with a blister on his right middle finger and has come back and pitched well out of the bullpen, and the Tigers could use some guys pitching well out of the bullpen.
This guy's got good stuff. Just a couple of variations from his fastball. Sink it. He'll cut it. Got a big curveball. Slider. Occasional changeups.
One and two.
He's made 3 starts this year, Green. If I'm not mistaken, I think we faced him first time around.
Out to Kinsler on one hop. Thought about trying to catch it on the fly and then stayed back for the big hop. And there's one down in the bottom of the 8th inning. And you would be correct, Hud. April the 19th. Shane Green was the losing pitcher. How about that? 7 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings. The Royals ended up winning that game 8-6. Salvador Perez 1 for 2. He's also hit by a pitch, adding to his impressive numbers against Justin Verlander. And even though it was only a single, because Salvi's had big power numbers against Verlander, that was an impressive base hit. He took a pitch that was about a foot outside and hit it into right field. And Justin Verlander, as good as he is, must be thinking, what do I got to do to get this guy out? Even when I don't throw a strike, he gets a base hit.
Right. But he's hot, but also he's a free swinger. They know that. It was at least a foot outside. And he barreled it. Didn't hit it off the end of the bat either. Did that by bending his knees, going with the pitch.
2 down. And that's 8 strikeouts for Royals hitters against the Tigers tonight. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD at home, in the office, or on the go. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch-by-pitch tracking, and more. Visit MLB.TV for details. Kendrys Morales with 2 down. Royals scored 3 runs in the first 2 innings against Verlander. And then Verlander buckled down and only allowed 1 run over his next 5 innings. Two balls and no strikes from Green to Morales.
Green's cutter is a lot like Hochevar's and Davis's. Has that little late life to it. A little bit, you know, it's very similar. Same velocity.
Two and one. Castellanos dives on the left side, and the ball is off of his glove, and Morales has an infield base hit going the other way as a left-hand batter. And now Castellanos is slow to get up, and he waves off the Tiger trainer, who's already halfway out there. And Tigers have already had one serious injury tonight to JD Martinez in right field.
Yeah, and you know, that's a head athletic trainer's pet peeve. As you can see, his glove got caught up underneath him. Whenever he's on the way out, they don't like you to wave him off. And I remember many times when they were coming out to check on me, and I'd say, I'm good, and I'd get back in the dugout, and they'd say, hey, if I'm halfway out, don't embarrass me and make me go back. That's Kevin Rand, long time head athletic trainer.
So he's not going to let anybody wave him off.
Right.
He's just going to keep on going.
He kept coming. Kevin Wren was my athletic trainer way back in A-ball for the Fort Lauderdale Yankees. This guy right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Joel should probably have him on the pregame show, shouldn't he?
He probably should.
Got a story or two.
Oh, he's seen it all.
Paulo tripled leading off the second inning. Scored the Royals' third run. The Royals tonight have had a 2-0 lead. They've had a 3-1 lead, and they've had a 4-3 lead. There's a base hit into right field. So with 2 outs, back-to-back hits. And once again, the Royals are in double digits with hits. They have 10.
That's hit exactly where it should be. Short, compact, found the hole. Well, that's one of the reasons that Paulo's average is well over 300.
Chester Cuthbert struck out in his first 2 at-bats against Verlander, once with a breaking ball, once with a fastball, and then really hung in there and had a long plate appearance with Verlander in the 6th and walked. And now he'll get a look at Shane Green. Breaking ball, strike 1. Hard. That doesn't break a lot, but that has more of a downward tilt than a side tilt.
Sure did. Good finish.
Cuthbert hit it off the end of the bat, and Kinsler will throw him out. So a couple of hits with 2 outs, and we go to the 9th inning. Detroit is on top 9-4. Are at the end of a long road trip, just like the Indians were when they were here, but not sluggish at all tonight. They are very slugger-ish, if you will. They've hit 5 home runs and lead 9-4. Coming up after the game, it's Boulevard Royals Live with Joel and Monty. Royals had an early lead, 2-0 and 3-1 in the first 2 innings. Justin Verlander buckled down. Shane Green has pitched a scoreless 8th. And it's been a rare bad night for the Royals bullpen. The Tigers have scored 6 runs against the Royals pen, and now Chin-Ming Wong will get the top of the 9th inning.
It's going to happen.
Wong closed out the game last night in a non-save situation. He had not pitched in 8 days. Peter Moylan, by the way, we mentioned, had not pitched in 9 days, and he was hit with 3 runs in the top of the 8th inning.
Well, Net's doing his best to try to get those guys in there, but when you haven't pitched in 9 days and you're a sinker baller, referring to Moylan, you know, it's hard to get that pitch working consistently if you're not getting consistent work. Especially facing really a hot Tigers offense.
Victor Martinez has hit 2 of the 5 home runs. Those 2 home runs were right-handed against Danny Duffy. And that's well hit to right field. And that would be a 3 home run game for Victor Martinez and a 6 home run game for the Detroit Tigers.
Well, like we just said, if you're a sinker ball pitcher and you haven't been out there in a while, it's tough to stay sharp. Sinker doesn't sink. It's going to get hit, especially by an extremely hot hitter.
Second time in his career that Victor Martinez has had a 3 home run game. It's the first time in 12 years. Back in 2004, he accomplished that at Seattle.
Now you could tell by the swings that Victor was having. Now, his first swing of the night was a homer, but then he was locked in on Duffy. Fouled off 5 pitches. In his next at bat, he took Duffy deep again on the right side.
Eidner comes up and makes a play on Romine, and there's 1 down. Victor Martinez was just early into his big league career when he hit that 3-run home run, or that 3 home run game at Seattle, playing for the Cleveland Indians. It's the first time ever that the Royals have allowed 6 home runs in a game to the Detroit Tigers. Nick Castellanos has hit 1 of the 6 home runs, and he's fly to the warning track in center field twice. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1 on Castellanos, who hit 15 home runs last year. So he is 2 shy of his career high. And we're just past the 1/3 mark of the season. You know, it's interesting, Castellanos, and it's very rare for a hitter these days to say it, but when he really started hitting early in the season, people wanted to know why. Did he make any changes? And one of the things that he brought up was that this year he wanted to watch less video and just stay to the basics when it comes to scouting reports. He wanted to lean more on his natural instincts as opposed to going to the plate with 100 things on his mind and thinking about trends, and just get back to see ball, hit ball.
Paralysis by analysis happens to a lot of guys who have all day before they come to the ballpark, and they're reading scouting reports. By the time they get to the ballpark, there's more meetings, and by the time they get up there, they're thinking way too much. So I don't blame him. I had more of his approach, and other hitters are the same. You think Miguel Cabrera's studying videos and stuff like that? I don't think so. Good spot there. That's the sinker that where he wants to keep it.
Ned Yost has credited Dale Swaim with being a good filter for the hitters, preparing them with enough information but making sure it's not information overload. Well hit off of Merrifield's glove, and he throws him out. Well, Royals are down by 6. They've been there before. And he'll get Brett Eibner, Whit Merrifield, and Alcides Escobar. For a while tonight, the difference in the game when the Royals led 4-3, by the way, the difference was Brett Eibner's first major league home run. And that was against Justin Verlander, leading off the 5th inning. Eibner also had an RBI single in the 2nd inning against Verlander, so 2 for 3 in his first game coming back from the disabled list, and acknowledges his former college teammate James McCann. Those two were together at Arkansas.
How about that? I like the shot that we had of Eibner hugging Duffy in the dugout. It's a special moment.
Joel stopped by the booth a couple of innings ago and and was reminding me that Whit Merrifield got his first big league hit. That was with Jackie Bradley Jr. on the field with the Red Sox. His college teammate at South Carolina. And then Brett Eibner gets his first big league home run with his buddy on the field, James McCann. And remember, Eibner wasn't just an outfielder at Arkansas, he was also a pitcher. That is a tough spot to hit a foul ball, or a soft spot to hit a foul ball.
Sure was. I think that was the same ankle that he hurt earlier in the season.
How about that Arkansas pitching staff and battery? They had Dallas Keuchel, Drew Smyly, and Brett Eibner on the mound when it was Eibner's turn to pitch, and James McCann behind the plate.
How about that? It's good baseball school.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Keuchel 9-3 in 09 when they went to the College World Series. Smyly 3-1. Brett Eibner 5-5. Up the middle, and Iglesias. Nice play. He has always been a flashy shortstop with the Tigers, and before that the Red Sox, but this is the first year where you could describe him as flashy and consistent.
That's right. He's got everything it takes. Strong throwing arm, excellent range to his right and left, and athleticism, quick feet. How would you like to have your infield instructor be Omar Vizquel if you're Iglesias? But Iglesias keeps his eye on Omar, who's sitting there. See, look at him. He's moving him. He's moving him more. Iglesias moves. He keeps his eye on him. Why wouldn't you?
Had a play 0-2 on Merrifield.
Wonder when Vizquel will be eligible for the Hall. It's 5 years, right? Gotta wait.
5 years. No, his last year was 2012. '29-year playing career, which included 24 years at the major league level. 11 Gold Gloves. Still 0-2 on Merrifield. Omar came up with the Seattle Mariners with Ken Griffey Jr. Seattle, Cleveland, San Francisco, Texas, the White Sox, and then his last year in 2012 with Toronto. Second highest all-time career fielding percentage among big league shortstops. And he turned out to be a pretty good hitter too. Down on strikes. Merrifield is 1 for 5 and now 2 down in the 9th inning.
Didn't you at one time train with Omar Vizquel up in Minnesota? Give us that story.
Well,
I know it's 2 outs. Sorry,
it was his rookie year, and my dad was his manager at Seattle, and I was a freshman at Minnesota. And Omar, he didn't need to play any more games in the offseason. I mean, he grew up in Venezuela. He played every day, but he needed to add some muscle, and this is before every team had a strength and conditioning coach. So my dad and my college coach, John Anderson, worked out a deal because The Mariners that year finished in Minnesota playing the Twins in the regular season. So Omar stayed with us for about 2 weeks and he trained with us. And they gave him a workout routine to take back to Venezuela. But he put on the University of Minnesota uniform and played in our fall games. And I mean, you can imagine what the guys thought about that. I mean, he was something.
Even then,
even after a rookie.
Right.
You know, the neat part about that story is Joel did an interview with Omar and me in Toronto in his last year. And Omar said, you know, I never got to go to college. So for 2 weeks, I felt like I got a chance to experience college. And that was really special to me. So I told John Anderson that. And John Anderson had a University of Minnesota jersey made for him with Vizquel on the back. And
it's awesome.
Omar says he has it framed. So I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. But
gotta go. Good story.
And with that Omar Vizquel story, that was one of Alcides Escobar's heroes growing up in Venezuela. When Omar Vizquel was a kid, he wanted to be like Ozzie Guillen and Dave Concepcion and Louis Aparicio. Well, now all the young Venezuelan infielders that are in the big leagues now, they wanted to be like Omar Vizquel.
Quite a compliment.
Kinsler comes up and the Tigers take game 1. The Tigers hit 6 home runs tonight. Victor Martinez hit 3 for the second time in his career. Miguel Cabrera, Nick Castellanos, and James McCann also homered. And it's a 6-run victory for Detroit in game 1. We'll be right back.